Hello, hello, hello. So now I am going to be reading today's lesson, which is lesson 23. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Now, considering we just finished yesterday's lesson, which allowed us to see that what I see is a form of vengeance, we got to also realize that the reason that we see the world as a form of vengeance is because we have these thoughts of being vengeful and angered and thoughts of attack within our own mind. So the world is just a projection. So I love today's lesson because it brings us right back up to cause, right back up to perception, and Jesus talks to us very, very, very specifically throughout. So I'm going to stick clearly to today's lesson and see what comes forward through inspiration as I go forward. So maybe y'all want to follow along with me if you take out your course books there. So, lesson 23. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will succeed. Straight up. Nothing else will work. Everything else is meaningless. But this way cannot fail. Every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see. It is with your thoughts, then, that we must work, if your perception of the world is to be changed. Now, even just with this first opening statement, it allows us to A, realize that there is an answer. B, it allows us to realize that we are the ones who are responsible for how we see the world. But 3, it also gets us to see that Jesus is working right here, directly in our own perception, to the degree in which we are willing to let it happen. And so that this is what we're going to be focusing on today, is these own thoughts that are in our own mind, to get these out of there so that the effect of the world can change. And I think this is what the next line says. It says, if the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts which you do not want. Now, this is the first step. We need to realize that we don't want these thoughts in order to let them go. We can no longer justify them. We can no longer protect them. We can no longer defend against them. We need to realize that we don't want these attack thoughts any longer, no matter how small or big they may appear to be. There is no point in lamenting the world. There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point to changing your thoughts about the world. Here you are changing the cause. The effects will change automatically. Right? So again, we need not put our focus on how we're going to save all the animals in the world. We need to not put our focus on how we're going to save all the children and people in Africa. We need to put our focus on how we're going to change our perception of the world. And in changing our perception of the world, we come back into alignment with God, with true vision. And then the effects will naturally change because now we're a vessel of assisting this change. But up until that point, we're just keeping our own attack and angered thoughts in our mind and defending them in order to keep them there. And this just keeps the world in bondage along with us. So today's thought is very, very liberating. The world you see is a vengeful world, and everything in it is a symbol of vengeance. Each of your perceptions of external reality is a pictorial representation of your own attack thoughts. And we've said this before, that we really only see images in our mind. And because those images are in our mind, we think those images are real. But really, it's just a pictorial representation of our own attack thoughts. We're not really seeing the world as it is. We're seeing the world as we think it is. So it's going to be as grave and as dark and as dirty and horrific as we want it to be, but it'll also be as spiritual and happy and pretty and go-lucky as our mind holds it out to be. Both sides of the coin we're now allowing to be released from our perception. One can well ask if this is even called seeing. Seeing through the veil? Not seeing. Is not fantasy a better word for such a process, and hallucination a more appropriate term for the results? I think so too, Jesus. You see the world which you have made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. This is where our power comes from. We are the image maker. We are the seer of all of this. this. We are the observer of all of this. We are not all of this. Right? You cannot be saved from the world, but you can escape from its cause. This is what salvation means. For where is the world you see when its cause is gone? Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. That's the beautiful part, is the vision has, vision is whole, vision is already there. All we need to do is say, I don't want to think these attack and angered thoughts anymore. I'm ready for vision, and vision will be given us to replace these attack thoughts. So vision is already there as a replacement for what we see now. Loveliness can light your images, and so transform them that you will love them, even though they were made of hate. For you will not be making them alone. So now we won't be seeing them alone and seeing them as hate and attack and vengeful and about ready to fight. Instead, what we will see is we will see the loveliness and the light, and we'll see through the eyes of the forgiven perception, and we'll realize that it's not us who's seeing this vision of light and transformation by ourselves. This is the shared vision. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped by the world you see, because its cause can be changed. This is a beautiful thought. We are not trapped by the world we see. The world we see does not determine how we are going to be, right? So because the cause can be changed in our mind, we now know that we have a way to free ourselves from this world, because we know where the cause is. This change requires first that the cause be identified and then let go, so it can be replaced. So that's the purpose of these practices and these applications, is so that we can first identify the cause and then let it go so it can be replaced, right? But we have to recognize it first, let it go so it can be replaced. The first two steps in this process require your cooperation. The final one does not. Your images have already been replaced by taking the first two steps. You will see that this is so. And this is exactly, what I've even experienced, is that once you identify the cause in your mind, any angered, attacked, painful thoughts, it is these that we can hand over to Spirit and allow these thoughts to be undone and let go. And this is what takes our willingness and our responsibility, that deep cooperation. And then the next step is Spirit's. That's when the correction is given, when the new vision is given, when the healing happens. So we just are responsible for the first two steps. That's all, and then Spirit will do the rest. So there we go. Besides using the thought for today throughout the day as the need arises, 5 practice periods are required in applying today's idea. 5 practice periods today. As you look about you, repeat the idea slowly to yourself, and then close your eyes. And devote about a minute to searching your mind for as many attack thoughts as occur to you. As each one crosses the mind, say, I can escape from the world by giving up attack thoughts about blank. So this is where our willingness comes in. This is where our cooperation comes in. This is the practical application to learn this idea. Jesus continues and concludes here by saying, hold each attack thought in the mind as you say this, and then dismiss that thought and go on to the next. In the practice periods, be sure to include both your thoughts of attacking and of being attacked. They're both the same, attacking and being attacked. Their effects are exactly the same because they are exactly the same. You do not yet recognize this, and you are asked at this time only to treat them as the same in today's practice period. We are still at this stage of identifying the cause of the world you see. When you finally realize that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, you will be ready to let the cause go. So this is how we bring everything back and seeing it as the same. And again, this vision is within us to be shown to us that they are the same, but we first must be willing to experience that this is so. And once we experience that, wow, to be attacked and to attack is the same thing, whoa, then that's when you realize that, okay, the cause is up here, I'm ready to let it go, and that's when the whole new vision is given us to replace what we previously saw to be true. So this is an unraveling process here, and it's a beautiful one. So we can take this thought with us throughout the day. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. And so it is. Thank you, everybody. I love you. Have a blessed day.